Good morning. Today is Thursday, January 25th, 2024. Today is Tu B'Shvat, the 15th day of the Jewish month of Shvat. Happy Tu B'Shvat. Originally, Tu B'Shvat is a rather technical date for certain agricultural laws in Israel. It's the beginning of the fiscal year for fruit trees, and I hope to discuss this aspect of it later this evening with you. But Tu B'Shvat has developed over time, especially in the modern period, into kind of a Jewish Arbor Day, a day to celebrate trees and plants. So in honor of Tu B'Shvat, let me share with you one of my favorite poems by Mary Oliver, one of my favorite poets. When I am among the trees, they give up such hints of gladness, I would almost say that they save me. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches and they call again, "It's simple," they say. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine. It's a beautiful poem about trees, but it does seem a bit odd for us to be celebrating trees in the dead of winter, especially we in the Northern Hemisphere. In what sense does it make logical sense for us to, on this date, just look outside and to celebrate trees today? Now, our understanding of this is actually provided by our region around Montreal, this area, by those who will soon be tapping holes in maple trees. That is about to start. Because although the trees outside here today appear dead, they appear naked and lifeless, the truth is, the fact is that inside, these trees right here, these trees are full of life. Sap is rising. Improbably, but vitality and sweetness are spreading at this moment in these dead-looking trees. Tu B'Shvat is a lesson for us in the winter of our calendar and in the winters of our history to look beneath the surface, to see the essence, the soul of life, not just that which is immediately obvious. But think for a moment of that man or woman drilling, tapping apparently dead trees in the freezing cold. They don't necessarily work harder than a farmer works in the spring or the summer, but their labor is different. It requires vision. They must labor to bring forth sweetness when no one else can see it. It's not harder, but it's a different kind of work. I've shared with some of you before the quote from the French writer Alphonse de Lamartine. He visited Israel about 185 years ago And he wrote, outside the walls of Jerusalem, we saw nothing living. We heard no sounds of life. We found the same emptiness, that same silence that we would have expected to find before the buried gates of Pompeii. Total silence reigns over the city, along the highways, the villages. The whole country is like a graveyard. That was just 185 years ago. 145 years ago, the American author Mark Twain visited Israel, and he wrote, there is not a solitary village throughout its whole extent, not for 30 miles in either direction. One may ride 10 miles and not see 10 human beings. There is hardly a tree or a shrub anywhere. Even the olive and the cactus, those fast friends of a worthless soil, have almost deserted the country. Palestine, which is how he referred to it at that time, sits in sackcloth and ashes. Over it broods the spell of a curse that has withered its fields and fettered its energies. Palestine is desolate and unlovely. It took vision for Jews, those early Zionists, to see beneath the surface of Israel, to see the holiness, the connection, and the fertility, both literal and figurative, beneath the surface of that harsh ground. That's what Tu B'Shvat is about. To be able to see with vision that which no one else can see. The same vision is needed in every area of life. Many people have trouble looking beyond the skin color of a person or the past mistakes that a person has made and judge them, and are unwilling to treat them with dignity and respect. They are unwilling or unable to see the soul inside of them that connects all of us to each other and connects all of us to God. Just as many looked at Israel 150 years ago and only saw a barren, empty place. Tu B'Shvat is the appropriate day to celebrate those with that type of vision. And the same thing applies to our experiences, to events in our lives. We need to look beyond the surface, beyond the superficial aspect of what it seems like now, what it feels like now, and consider what it will mean, how it will feel in the future. My aunt, Joan Crystal Weiss, wrote about a close friend of hers that she first met at a 12-step meeting many years ago. This woman was an addict, a drug addict. She was in this 12-step programs. And this woman identified herself as a grateful addict. And when my aunt heard that, she didn't understand what that phrase meant. How can you be a grateful addict? And here's the answer she got. Given all the choices I've made in my life, I never would have chosen to become a drug addict. However, since that was the path I found myself on, and I chose recovery and what it took to get there, my life has been enriched beyond imagination. This is not true for everyone. But the realization that we can grow from pain is powerful. And it gives us hope that the tragedies and harrowing experiences that we have had do not have to define us. The imprint that those traumas leave can propel us forward and upward. And they can offer us opportunities to become wiser, more giving, more compassionate, with a greater sense of life's underbelly of truth than if we had never had the trauma to begin with. Doesn't mean we asked for it. But that's what Tu B'Shvat is. The theme of looking below and beneath the surface to see the sweetness, to see the richness, to see the fertility, to see the blessing. One last poem about trees in honor of Tu B'Shvat. This written by Dan Pagis. 4 talked about the tree. 1 defined it by genus, species, and variety. 1 assessed its advantages for the lumber industry. 1 quoted poems about trees in many languages. And 1 took root, stretched out branches, and rustled. On Tu B'Shvat especially, it's not enough to talk about trees. We must have the Tu B'Shvat vision to rustle. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.